Only ever Ubered once, picked up a couple that had been making out as I pulled up, and the entire time driving, she kept saying how they were gonna smash. Dude definitely got lucky that night. Uber and Lyft drivers, what's your most NSFW story? What's up viewer, thanks for coming back to another Alien Radio Storytime. It's your favorite storyteller Andrew, back at it again. Since you're already here, you might as well like the video, subscribe, and ring the bell button. If you don't, then you're mom gay. No more waiting, let's get started with today's stories. We have a driver here who has been advertising on Craigslist. He has his girlfriend right in the back seat and arranges specific pickups so she can give you a handjob during your trip. Same friend, 3 occasions over a year. 1. Guy was drunk and pulled his pants off and started playing with himself. 2. Girl decided she was happy and pulled her top off for her other friend that wasn't so drunk to feel her up, the friend apparently flipped out. 3. Guy passed out drunk so he checked and his pulse was low, took him to the hospital, turned out the guy was overdosing on Xanax and alcohol, and he saved his life. I picked up a client who said he was on his way to the hospital to get something removed. It was very clear by his movements that he had something stuck in his ass. I asked if he needed an ambulance instead, but he said he didn't have insurance so he couldn't afford it. After I dropped him off and helped him in, I got back in the car and looked back to find a bloodstain on the seat. The morals of the story are: 1. If you're poor, don't shove things in your ass that can get stuck. 2. Never get light gray upholstery in your new car. Wasn't really NSFW, but on my second day doing Uber, one of the clients was on house arrest, Dave. Dave was a cool guy. He wanted me to buy him some wine and smokes from the gas station. He even trusted me with his card plus PIN. When I get back I decide to just have a smoke with him. That turns into us doing Tai Chi in his backyard at 2 a.m. Really cool dude Dave was. Hope he turned his life around. I was in Santa Ana, California looking for a guy I was supposed to pick up. He lived in a large cul-de-sac with a small park in the center. It happened to be later in the evening when I went to pick him up. I go through the cul-de-sac once pretty slowly as I can't find his house. I decided to do a second round of the cul-de-sac, and when I get a quarter of the way through, 2 guys emerge from the park, and one of them pulls out his pistol and asked, "What the duck you doing in my neighborhood?" I decided to act really calm and just let him know that I'm with Uber and was unable to find a passenger and who I was looking for. He says, "Oh, you looking for random name, he's at the top of the cul-de-sac blue house." I thanked him for his help and cancelled on my rider. Duck that crap. I don't drive for either of those companies, but I had a pretty bizarre fare once. I picked up a guy and a girl midday Saturday for a short ride, a couple of kilometers. The girl seemed drugged out of her mind and was wearing somewhat revealing clothing, so it was pretty clear they'd been partying the night before. While driving I picked up their conversation, which they were not even attempting to hide. It was pretty clear that the guy had a girlfriend who was not the girl in the car and that he had just hooked up with this girl. They were currently heading to his girlfriend to explain what had happened. To be clear, he is bringing the girl he was unfaithful with along to explain to his girlfriend that he just ducked her. He tipped well though. My friend told me about a couple who got into his car. They were slightly drunk talking nonsense to each other, so he didn't pay much attention, just kept driving and occasionally checking on them through the rearview mirror. Eventually the girl got quiet, so he checked in the mirror and didn't see her, and my innocent friend thought she was asleep and even laughed about it with the guy. Well, not long after that he passed a speed bump and heard the guy saying, "Oh crap." At the same time a gurgling sound was heard and a smell of booze plus sour filled up the whole car. So yeah, the girl was sucking off her boyfriend whatever. The speed bump caused her to deep throat and vomit all over the backseat, and my poor friend still had to drive around with a vomit-smelling car. At least they rated him 5 stars. A mate of mine drives Grab, which is basically a Southeast Asian version of Uber. Once picked up a guy and 3 girls. Turned out the guy was a pimp and the girls were hookers, and the 4 were being tailed by the cops for illicit prostitution. And my friend was forced to get involved. Long story short, they got stopped by the cops, and my friend explained that it was his birthday and they were going to an orgy for his birthday. And no orgy for him. He did get a nice tip though. Edit. Next time I better make it clear what tip I am talking about. Picked up this very tall and somewhat muscular looking black girl carrying what looks like a tackle box. She was dressed somewhat risque. Gets in the car and I say hello. She responds with a pretty deep voice. We started the trip and she was telling me that she was on her way to do makeup for one of her friends and her phone rang. She answered the call and it started off pretty standard. I wasn't really paying attention. Suddenly I just hear, "Girl, what are you worried about? You have a great looking clit." Alright then. Where's this going? No, Derek is super sweet. It'll be fun, I promise. No girl, he's just gonna come through the doors. Yes, I'll be there. I'll be outside the doors as one of the topless guards. Anyway, he's going to pan through doors, focus in on you on the bed. Just start playing with yourself, nothing you haven't done before. Yes, after a few minutes of doing that you call for the guards, and I come in and we duck. Yes, I brought the strap on, it's in the makeup box. And that's the story of the person planning their porno during an Uber ride. There's a photo of this on Reddit that I posted and deleted when it happened, but I can't find it right now. Not me, but a friend who also drives in my city picked up this drunk girl on her bachelorette at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. She was going like 4 blocks but was so drunk she passed out the second she sat down. He pulls off and about 30 seconds later she craps in her sleep. She's wearing very short shorts so it just falls out on both sides. Being that she's passed the duck out, he drives her to her hotel anyway, with the windows down trying not to vomit. When he gets there, she kinda wakes up and in the process of getting out manages to smear crap on his back seat, on the back of the front seat, on the inside roof, on the outside roof, and on the door. She says sorry, throws him $20, and disappears. Uber gives him $250 to clean his car, charged to the crapper. The next day he gets an email from Uber saying she called them all pissed off because why did she have to pay a soilage charge when she already gave him $20 to get the car cleaned? Not exactly NSFW, but definitely my favorite story. I picked up a couple in their 30s on St. Patrick's Day this year at 2 a.m. They wanted to take about a 35-mile drive at 6.3x surge, so I was about to give the third highest paying fare I'd ever given. Great way to end the night. They had clearly been drinking like they were 20-somethings since early in the day. The wife, in the front seat, was super apologetic for the first 5 minutes or so, completely embarrassed about their level of intoxication, while the husband, in the back, was trying to be my new best friend. After 5 minutes or so though, the Sandman paid them a visit and they both passed out. I drove for the next 20 minutes in relative peace. When we arrived in their driveway, the husband was sound asleep and they had a half-inch of wet snow in their driveway, so I took the wife inside first. While on the way in, she upended her purse in the snow, but I was more focused on getting her safely inside. Once we got in, I helped her to the bathroom and then went to the garage to get a snow shovel. I cleared a 4-wide path from the garage to the car so I could get the husband inside. He's a bigger guy and I wanted to be safe and finally got him awake. I gave him my shoulder and got him inside. He begged me, please, just get me to the recliner, I can't make it to bed, so that's where we headed. All the while the wife is throwing up with the force of a small waterfall in the bathroom. I ran outside and grabbed the contents of her purse, which included her phone, absolutely soaked at this point, and came back inside. She begged me to rice her phone, so I started to dig through her cupboards for a bag and rice. While digging I came across their meds and pulled some. Edit. Advil, absorbed by kidneys, for them. I riced her phone, then gave them both Advil and water, and told them to take more in the morning, they were gonna need it. Then I locked the door and showed myself out. In the end, I was dropping them off for well over half an hour, but the fare was awesome, and the day was my second best day of driving, so it didn't really bug me. The kicker? They left me a 5-star review the next day. Pretty okay guy. Best ride ever. Obligatory healthcare provider edit. I promise I actually gave them Advil, I was typing that while very exhausted and hurriedly eating breakfast and mixed up my drugs. I try not to poison my riders. When combining Advil with Edo, don't take more than the recommended dose and combine with food and a fair amount of water to avoid GI issues up to and including bleeds. Also, my top-ranked post is about me taking some drunk folks home. Awesome.
Like and subscribe for more funny, interesting, and scary r/ask Reddit videos.